the digital marketing world, right? The paid traffic world, at like the top level, right? So the people that are doing it and spending millions of dollars a month across multiple clients, the people that are really scaling, the people that are speaking at the biggest events, the people that are running the biggest masterminds, like all those people, it's not a very big circle. So I think that's one of the interesting things that I learned is like once you get to that point, you're like, yeah, we all know each other, right? Either you've met and you've gotten to hang out and build a relationship, or you are really good friends with the person who's really good friends with that person, and you kind of know each other, right? And eventually you meet and it's like you've known each other. But then there's the people who like don't really go to the events, the people that don't speak on stages, the people that are like, you can't really tell, you don't really get to know them, and you kind of see their stuff, and you're like, I've never met a client or like a person that knows that person or has done business with that person, and it's hard to vet a lot of people, right? And so if it's hard for somebody like me to vet somebody, because I get asked a lot, like I'll people that are really close to me, they'll say, hey, I'm thinking about hiring this media buyer, like what do you think about them? Or I'm thinking about hiring this consultant or this coach or this person to teach me YouTube ads or Facebook ads or Snapchat ads, whatever. Like, do you know them? What do you think about them? And a lot of times I'm like, well, I know that person, they're great, definitely hire. But then there's times where I keep hearing the same names, like I don't really know anything about them, but I hear some people saying the same things, and they're a lot of talk or whatever. And so I think there are some clear red flags to look for. And I guess this is what the purpose of this video, right? Besides me keeping this consistent streak of putting out content, which I'm trying my best to do, is before Larissa and I go to an awesome dinner, which I'm excited about. And she got me this unicorn bang, which is awesome. See, Monster, if you just gave me a sponsorship deal, I wouldn't have to switch to Bang, right? Or like we have like Corey Rush is watching. Like there's so many people, even people that are tuning in and watching this. Like I just saw Corey like this. Like Corey and Keegan brothers, they're doing hundreds of millions of dollars with Shopify stores. They're working with like the biggest brands in the world, right? Those are guys that are like absolutely crushing it. They have a massive team. They're running Shopify stores and traffic for like massive brands, right? Then there, Tim Burton, these people out there that are like, that they're crushing it. Billie Jean, like Ezra Firestone. There's all these guys, what's up, Raphael, who are just rock stars, right? And here's what I've noticed, the consistent themes. I'm going to share a few things that, and again, like, I'm not the right fit for a lot of people, right? So there's some people that like, hey, I'm not the best. If you're looking for a course or instructor on Facebook ads for lead gen or local business, or not lead gen, local business, or things like that, like I'm not the best at that, right? I haven't done local business, right? I haven't done events, right? If you're looking somebody that's going to teach you how to run massive events and run traffic to those events, put butts in seats, I haven't done a lot of that. I'm not the best at that. I'm not even great at that or good at that. So I think that there's the first thing is, and I'm just sharing this because I see so many people falling for this time and time again. I've met a lot of people who've been like, I got burned by this person. I gave this person $10,000. I gave this person $1,000. I gave this person a few $100s, and I got nothing. They scammed me. Or they had a program and I went through it and it didn't get any results, right? And sure, like one person saying that is not enough, right? There's plenty of people that have said that about like my course, and they didn't even complete the course, or they didn't even open the course, and that's on them. But I think there's some red flags to look for. There's some things that if you see a pattern, right, about like one person's program or a company's program, you should kind of dive a little deeper. So we'll go through this, right? And this is gonna be a quicker video. So here's the number one thing. This is if you can walk away with this video with just one thing that you look for, it is expectations, right? So what do I mean by that? What do I mean by expectations? If anybody, I don't care how big they are, I don't care how good they are, tells you that if you watch this video or you complete this course or you come to my event, you're going to become an expert, or you're going to get rich, or you're going to 10x your returns. Anybody that makes any promises like that or guarantees like that, you should be instantly skeptical of. Because here's the truth, right? Like, and this is not just for marketing. I think this is true for anything. Anybody that is seriously successful, okay? So anybody that is, let's cross spectrums. Let's not just focus on marketing. Let's look at The Rock, right? Let's look at who else can we look at? The Rock. Let's look at Tony Robbins. Let's look at who else? Who are some great marketing people? Let's look at Ezra, Tim, people in our space, right? So let's look at just people like that. Let's look at back in the day, like Chipper Jones, Randy Johnson, Barry Bonds, a bad example. But like, let's look at just rock stars, right? Cristiano Ronaldo, like all these, LeBron James. Let's look at all these rock stars, right? None of them ever like got to where they are because they got one coach and they went to one session, because they went to one event, because they practiced and they learned this one trick, right? LeBron James isn't LeBron James because he learned one dribbling technique or one shooting technique, or because he got one coach to teach him agility. Like The Rock didn't get monstrous and jacked because he learned how to lift one way, or because he had one trainer, right? This is sure, I'm sure anybody that's like in our space, like that I'm friends with, right? Whether it's Tim or Ez or anybody that's watching this, like they didn't get to where they are because they learned one trick. And so what you need to start thinking is, well, if all of these really successful people, Apple didn't become or Amazon, Apple and Amazon didn't become the biggest companies in the world because they had one good product, or because they had one good idea, or because they brought in one good consultant, right? So you got to start looking at it and saying, well, if all of these success stories throughout history and industries didn't become successful from one thing, why should I expect that if I take this one course, or I go to this one event, or I work with this coach one time, that I'm going to instantly become successful? And that is like, it's so obvious, but unfortunately, so many people don't think that way, because you get excited. Because the people that sell this, the people that market that way, they know how to push certain buttons. They know that if I show you these crazy results, if I show you this crazy lifestyle, if I get you excited and worked up, that you will overlook reason and logic, and you will act on emotion. And that is what happens with a lot of these people, is they trigger that emotional response rather than that logical response, right? They go right to like that lizard brain, right? The most fundamental ancient part of your brain, the brainstem, where it's like you just act on instinct. And they trigger that, and it bypasses all the other stuff, your prefrontal cortex, all the stuff that's reason, logic, that you know better, right? You know, hey, I'm doing nothing. Like, I have an e-commerce store. I've never run Facebook ads before. I'm doing $100 a day, and this course says that I can get a Lamborghini in a year, or I can make $1 million if I just buy this course for $997. Well, that's amazing. I'm going to do it, right? Now, any reasonable person would know that. What is this person like? How does this person have the secret to just make me a millionaire without even working with me personally? Just a course, just here's my digital product, buy it. And so that is something I see time and time again, and it's amazing that people still lead with that. And you can go to YouTube right now, and you can search for Facebook ads or Google ads or entrepreneurship, building a business, and you'll see some of the top videos. And obviously the top videos, because they get people, all those masses that want the success, that buy into it, right? There's videos on there right now that are, I shit you not, that say, if you watch this video, you'll become an expert. Like, that's insane, right? Who here watching this video thinks that you can become an expert in something by watching one video? Who here thinks, seriously, like, if you agree with that, don't hit the like button. If you think that's crazy, hit the like button. Like, let me know that you think that's crazy. I'm not the only person that thinks it's crazy, that people out there they think that you can become an expert by watching a video. Like, anybody that even thinks you can become an expert watching a series of videos, watching 100 videos, you can't, right? You don't become an expert in something because you consume content, right? LeBron James and Michael Jordan and these great basketball players became the best because, sure, they learned, right? Sure, they worked on their form, and they knew the right way to run, the right way to pass, the right way to dribble. They learned the skills and the strategy, but they went out there and shot hundreds, if not thousands of shots a day, every day for years. For years. They ran, they worked out, they trained every day for years. The Rock went to the gym 3 times a day, every day for years. Arnold Schwarzenegger went to the gym 3-5 times a day, every day for years, right? All these people, like, didn't become who they are because they watched a YouTube video, because they bought a course. And so, like, it's so obvious, but at the same time, if it was that obvious to everybody, a lot of these people wouldn't exist. And that's what's mind-boggling to me, is that there are still so many ads I see in my feed where it's promising just stupid results and setting unrealistic expectations with people because they're showing, hey, here's my one outlier client who turned $1,000 into $100,000. And they're positioning that and framing that as if that's the norm, right? No, that's an outlier, right? For every one person that turned $1,000 into $100,000, there's 1,000 people who lost $1,000, right? This is the it's a it's confirmation bias, and so like it's the same example that people give why college is useless. They say, well, Mark Zuckerberg dropped out of college. Well, sure, and it's not a debate on college. I think there's a lot to discuss here on college, but a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs, they use that example when they're in college. I've talked to numerous kids that are still in school who are thinking about dropping out of school because they're starting a business, and here's what I'll say: for every Mark Zuckerberg, there's 10,000 other entrepreneurs who thought that they were the next Mark Zuckerberg, and they're unemployed right now, and they don't have a college degree, right? So it's easy to like pick examples out, right, and then make that example seem like it's the norm when it's an outlier. And so the same thing's happening with a lot of the marketing courses, with a lot of the marketing trainings. It's, hey, here's my one student who had these ridiculous results, and it might not even be a factor of his product, because this is crazy. Like, there are just some products that are great, that are just great timing, the right product at the right time. Some people have just a great brand, right? So we had a client that came to us. This is 2 years ago, and he was a first-time entrepreneur. He was a CPA for a family farm, and started a dropshipping store selling STEM toys. So like toys focus on science, technology, engineering, mathematics, right? And he launched it in like September, and did almost like $2 million by December. He spent about $900,000 in ads, brought in over $2 million in revenue. He ran one ad. It was a boosted post, one creative, not even a call to action. It was a boosted post with an image and text. He spent $900,000 on that ad and brought in over $2 million, right? So yeah, it's easy to say, like, if he was in my course, like, hey, here's this guy, and yeah, he turned, a few $100,000 and several $1 million, and it's because of my course. Well, no, it could be just the fact that he just had a great product at the right time, right? And so that's the other problem with a lot of his courses, is it's like false attribution. It's like, I might have helped you get there, but is it truly my responsibility for this person getting there? So I guess the big thing is the expectations. I guess that's getting back to like the main point, is like anytime I see somebody that is making very, very bold claims that just are unrealistic, I know not to do business with that person. I tell my friends and people that ask me, don't do business with that person, right? Because if they're willing to make like crazy claims like this, like on the front end, imagine what they're able to do on the back end, right? If this is what they're starting with, right? Just publicly, blatantly, like, hey, watch this course, watch this video, hey, take this course, and you'll become rich, you'll become an expert. And again, it sounds crazy that I didn't have to say this, but like, you can go to YouTube right now, and there are numerous videos in the top results for things like Facebook ads and Google ads and Shopify with claims like that, like right in the title. And they have millions of views and lots of likes. And it's because the masses in our industry are inexperienced and they don't know what to look for. So they don't know that that's unrealistic, because they see, the Tai Lopez's and the Grant Cardones, and they see the Gary V's, and they see these guys that are just larger than life who are just making so much money, and they think that, hey, anybody can do it. And they don't know that it took them years, if not decades, of hard work and busting their ass and trying and failing to get to where they are. They didn't get to where they are overnight. And so that's really the big thing. I think it's expectation. I think the other thing is anybody that like you've never heard of, and the first thing they're doing interaction wise is trying to sell you something. That's another red flag, especially in marketing, because I'm a big believer that the way somebody's selling you a marketing course markets to you is a direct reflection on their product. Did that make sense? So if I'm selling you a course on Facebook ads, the number one thing you should look at when determining whether to buy, deciding whether you're going to buy from me, is my Facebook ads themselves. Like, I'm selling you a course on Facebook advertising. So my Facebook ad strategy better be crazy. It better be super impressive. And if it's not, and super basic, it shouldn't matter what I put on the landing page or the testimonials I use, right? Why would I buy a Facebook course from somebody who's running just mediocre Facebook ads, right? Why would I buy a Shopify or ecom course from somebody who has a shitty Shopify store? Why would I buy an email marketing course from somebody who has terrible email marketing, email follow-ups? And there's a lot of people out there that have terrible follow-ups, terrible ads that are selling courses for that. That's another thing to look at. And that, again, should be obvious, but a lot of people don't look at that, right? So, like, for what I do, it's all about building a relationship up front, right? I don't want to just, if you never heard me before, I'm not going to show you an ad, buy my course, right? It's going to be, well, here's content from me. I'm going to put content every day. I'm going to provide value every day on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on email, on Messenger. I'm going to provide value. I'm going to answer questions. I'm going to help people. I'm going to build trust and build a relationship. That's how you build an effective business, right? That's how you really market successfully, is you deliver value, you build relationships, you build trust, you overcome objections, and then you provide the pitch, right? You don't just cold call people all day long online and on the phone. That's not a scalable marketing strategy, unless you want to hire, a call center and you just want to blow relationships and just try to take as much money from people as possible and not expect to build any lifetime value. So that's another big thing, I think, is if you see, like, I see ads all the time in my feed from people I've never heard of, and it's the first interaction with me, and they're trying to sell me something, and it could be relatively high ticket. It's like, I don't know you, I don't trust you, I have no relationship with you, and you want me to give you $2,000? That's crazy. That's not effective. Like, that is about as, like, bad of a sales job as possible. Like, that's your time to shine, is that first touch point. And that says a lot about you, especially when it comes to selling marketing related training and courses and coaching and stuff like that. So that's another thing. So again, I don't know if this is, helpful for people. A lot of people who are watching this probably already are pretty deep in the marketing world. They kind of know, and they have relationships with people. But there's a lot of people who hopefully see this who might be on the fence about buying something, and hopefully this gives them a little more ammo, a little more structure and advice into what to look for before buying something, before investing in something, because you can really make a big mistake. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of advice out there on, like, there's no course out there on how to buy courses, right? There's no, like, training group out there that teaches people, like, here's how to buy courses. There's no, like, Better Business Bureau for marketing courses or info products, and there should. I think there should be. And I talked to my friends at GiddyUp and a lot of the big networks who have access to massive amounts of data, whether it's ClickBank, GiddyUp, these networks. And I think what would be great, this would be a great idea, is creating almost like a scoring system, especially for marketers, that people can go and look and, like, see that this person who's selling Facebook course, they've spent X million dollars this year on Facebook ads. Here's who they've run ads for. Like, it's a verified system. Like, basically you're putting, like, a check mark, a verification mark on their credentials and statistics. I think that would be there's an interesting model there, especially on the back end. As somebody that hires a lot of media buyers, I would love to have that, like, a system where I can go look and just, like, hey, this guy's not just telling me he ran ads for this person spent this much money, because a lot of people, they inflate their numbers dramatically. Basically the rule of thumb I look at is, like, whatever number somebody says that they spend, it's usually, like, less than half that. Maybe usually 33% is the actual amount they spent. They usually inflate it by a multiple of 2, 3, maybe even 4 times. So if somebody says they spent $1 million on Facebook ads, usually it's less than $100,000 they spent. But I think there's opportunities out there to, like, add a layer of transparency to the marketplace, so that people, whether they're buying courses, whether they're hiring media buyers, whether they're hiring a consultant or coach or mentor, whoever it is, they can actually see and verify, like, this is what they've done, this is what they've spent, these are the platforms they spent it on, these are the results. But yeah, I think that's a big thing. I think the final thing I'll say is, and this should be an obvious one as well, I think everything I'm saying here is obvious, but I'm still going to say it, is, like, the focus on the big numbers. So you'll see a lot of ads featuring screenshots, or a lot of people posting in Facebook groups, and they'll share the biggest, most dramatic wins, and they'll show it based on, like, a single ad, right? So it's like, here's a screenshot, not even showing the full ad manager. It'll show, like, a little piece of a row in an ad, like, really, really granular look without any context. and it'll just show like 10x ROAS, 20x ROAS, 30x ROAS. So that's another red flag, is like anybody that's showing screenshots of their Shopify or Facebook ad data and they're not showing the full context, meaning they're not showing like the total spend across an entire campaign or entire ads manager. They're just showing like an individual ad within an individual ad set within a campaign within a specific time frame, and they're not providing context. They're not telling you, hey, is this retargeting? Is this cold traffic? That's another huge red flag that you should be looking for. Because the reality is that like at scale, when you're spending millions of dollars a month on Facebook or any paid traffic channel, you're not going to be getting 10, 20x ROAS, right? Like a lot of the serious media buyers I know, the people that are actually managing millions, tens of millions, even more on an annual basis, like they're running ads for some big clients and they're not looking for 5, 10x ROAS, right? They're looking for 2, 3, maybe 4x return on ad spend. And if they can get that, they're scaling like crazy, because their focus is, I'd rather net more on a monthly basis than have a bigger ROAS. And so that's the big mistake I see a lot of people make, is they focus so much on ROAS and that number, and they don't spend more because they want to keep the ROAS there, or they just want to focus on things that have the high ROAS. At the end of the day, like as long as you're profitable, you should be spending more, right? So if I'm profitable at a 2x ROAS, and let's say I'm getting a 10x ROAS spending $100 a day, right? Awesome. That's great. I'm, making, $90 or, if I'm spending $100 a day and getting a 10x ROAS, I'm making, $900 a day. Cool. I would rather be spending $20,000 a day at a 3x ROAS, right? And netting, $10,000 a day plus than making $900 a day at a 10x ROAS, right? And so that's what's mind-boggling for a lot of the people that think small, is they're just so focused on ROAS, not focused on how much money you can make, right? Like you can't deposit ROAS. I can't take a 10x ROAS or a 20x ROAS to the bank and deposit it. I can't go buy a car with ROAS. I can go buy it with $50,000 in cash that I made today. And so that's a big mistake that I see a lot of beginners make, or people that are trying to just like game the numbers and try to sell courses or info products, is they focus on showing ROAS and not how much actually they're netting. Like I want to work with somebody that's netting tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars a month with their paid traffic. That's who I want to work with, regardless of whether they're at a 3x ROAS or a 10x ROAS. As long as they're netting, they're profitable. That's the number that matters to businesses, right? Like Apple doesn't give a crap what their ROAS is on their ads. They care about, are we growing? Are we making more money every month than we were the month before? That's what real businesses care about, not metrics that are vanity metrics, essentially. And the final thing I'll say is that faking those metrics is beyond easy. So you don't even need Photoshop to fake Facebook ROAS or conversion value data. All you need is a landing page and the purchase event pixel. You can just put a purchase event pixel on a landing page, and you can create, publish an ad. You can make the link to that, to that thank you page. You can click through the ad, and you can refresh that page 100 times. You can have friends click that ad and refresh 100 times, and it's just going to rack up purchases, right? That's why a while back, Shopify, when people had that big issue with Shopify a few years ago, it was so massive because Shopify turned their thank you page into an order confirmation page where you could go back and check your tracking. And so people were refiring the purchase event 2, 3, 5, 10 times. So all of a sudden everybody thought they got great at Facebook ads. It was just that people were going back and refiring the pixel. You can do the same thing right now. Anybody could do that. You can go and just, I can fire 1,000 purchases right now if I wanted to. And it'll look legit in Ad Manager, right? If I went in there and showed my Ad Manager, it could show you 1,000 sales today. So it's really, really easy to fake these things. And that's why you should always be looking deeper than just screenshots, deeper than just the numbers they show you. It's about building trust and credibility and relationship and knowing that person beyond just the initial ad they show you with a fancy screenshot. So hope that's beneficial. Again, if anybody has any questions about investing in a course, investing in coaching, investing in a mastermind, a training program, I've bought plenty over the years. I've invested in lots of coaching, in masterminds, in courses and trainings from a wide range of people. Some have been great, some have been terrible. And we obviously sell a lot of that stuff too. So if anybody has any questions about like what should I be looking for, what questions should I ask, what areas should I be focused on most when deciding to invest in a course versus a mastermind, whatever it might be, I'm more than happy to provide advice and help out there.